Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Houston, welcome to another episode of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. My name is Rudy Segura, and I am joined by Cristian Putalia's brother. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? How you doing, Rudy? I'm doing great. A little sick, kind of here stuffed up, but I think everybody's gonna get sick eventually at one point in time, right? With the weather change and all that.
But that's the worst, man. Getting sick in the summer, like it's just absolutely the worst. Like getting sick in the winter when it's cold and everything, it's nice because like people for the most part, it's like, hey, I'm sick. I was like, all right, man, stay home. Get some hot soup, watch some movies, relax. You'll get better soon. But you say like, hey, man, I'm sick in the summer. No one cares. Like absolutely, no one cares. And you need to show up to work, man. Isn't that right?
It's exactly true. I mean, especially I got a vacation next week.
Nice.
I'm gonna be at the beach all week, so I'm just kind of hoping that everything kind of goes away, so I can be watching soccer and at the beach the whole week.
Nice, man. Where are you going?
We're going to Freeport, so we're staying close.
So like Surfside, is that?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I just drive and pick up stuff, and I carry this stuff, and I just show up. Everything else the wife does.
What's it called? That reminds me, like I don't know if your kids are into it, but like my kids love Bluey and watching those episodes. I think they're probably one of the most like series or kids thing that you can actually enjoy as an adult, and like it hits home, man. Because a lot of it like, especially whenever like us guys or fathers, it's more of you relate really closely to Bandit the dad, and like all because I would say 90% of the episodes are with the dad, always having to be the one playing with the girls or with the kids and stuff. And it was like, but the only reason I brought this up is because the kids had it on when I got home, and it was an episode of they were going to the beach to relax, and that's kind of where like the vibe is like, yeah, exactly. Like they're all trying to go to the beach, but then the kids are like just like enamored with everything in the hotel because it's brand new to them, and they want to take a bath and play with bubbles, and they're like, dude, we're here for the beach. Like so, it was pretty funny. So anyways, no, I'm with you, man. I need a vacation so bad. I don't know when that's gonna happen now. I'm supposed to take off the week of 4th of July because we have like 2 days off, and I was hoping to do something, but my wife worked, so it's not like I can just leave her out of town. If not, it's gonna be like, whenever wife is working, they always say like, don't do anything fun without them. That's the vibe.
Basically, you can't. It's either with them or nothing.
Yeah, everybody feels left out. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like, let me do something with them.
But I don't know if it's in your case, but like I feel like women are more independent in a way with the kids.
Oh, they'll do it without us.
Yeah.
It's not that they're independent. They're just fine with like. We can't do anything fun, but they can do whatever the heck they want with the kids, man. I feel
it's just life.
Yeah, it's like when my wife is like here working from home, or because usually she works from home, and like she can kind of make it so that she can do a lot of it, on her phone or whatever. And so she'll go to the library with the kids, and I go out for a couple hours, not like the whole day or something, but it's like, man, that must be nice.
Right?
Must be nice, man. Like every time I take off, like I'm busy. So
you got like a list of things to do. You gotta cut the grass, or you gotta do this, or you gotta do that.
Check mark, man. I did that right now. It's apparently, like we were supposed to get so much rain, so I was over here like a crazy man cutting the grass when I got home. But you know what? The only best thing about all of this is that there's soccer to watch, man. Because obviously the Euro started last week on Friday, and I've been trying to catch as many of the games that I can. I think I've probably watched 3 full games. I mean, I'm talking about like the entirety, and then some other ones I've watched like half, and then I fall asleep on the other half. But a good thing is I haven't missed any goals. So for the most part, Except for the Turkey game, I ended up like missing the first 2 goals.
That one was good. It was a good. I only watched the second half. I got to it late.
Well, that's where the
But
goals happened.
it was a good game.
Yeah, sure. What's it called? Who's the guy? Guler was the one that hit the second goal. I mean, both of the goals from Turkey are like good. I mean, they are very good. I was very surprised how clean they got the shots off, and then obviously the guy from, I think the guy's from plays for Real Madrid, if I'm not mistaken. They were saying
I don't know crap
Guler
about
I
European.
think. But right. But and then the one that I didn't really watch the second half was the Portugal game. I was just surprised that they have a Pepe, like, which I feel like he was playing when I was like in high school, and the dude's still kicking it, man.
I mean, we could say the same for Cristiano, right? I mean, but both. I mean, yeah, Pepe is a little bit older. He's 41.
Pepe was 41, yeah.
Yeah, he's the oldest player to play in the Euros.
That's crazy.
That's wild. 41.
It's crazy.
That's us in like 10 years.
And he looks like in good shape too, like overall, which I mean makes sense what he's playing. But I don't know, Pepe always never looked in shape to me.
For real.
You know what I mean? And like,
he's just like
and that was like 10 years ago when he was with Real Madrid, kicking people in the back and all that good stuff that Pepe brings. But now he looks more calm, more relaxed, and yet the dude is still. There's a couple times that they kicked that ball long, and he was still caught up to defenders. So I'm like, damn, bro, like I just pull a hammy just looking at him.
Like you get injured on the couch getting up to
get like exactly.
a Coke or something. And you're like, dang.
Exactly. Well, we're rambling just a tiny bit because I think Joey was supposed to join us, but you know, Joey, he's a diva of the group.
He's busy.
He did came in clutch because he was able to jump in the presser with Ben Olsen this morning. Which I guess, Chris, you're gonna have to put that up sometime.
I just did.
Okay, good.
Right before this.
Well, I was gonna say then go check out YouTube. Actually, Chris, I'll let you do the housekeeping, man, before we start talking soccer.
Yeah, so yeah, guys, go check out the website BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where you can literally find everything and anything that we do there. Obviously, we do follow the Houston teams: Houston Dynamo, Houston Dash, Houston Dynamo Los. You can check everything out there. And of course, we're gonna have some coverage of local leagues like Vote League and stuff like that. But also, we're gonna have a little bit of coverage of the Euros, a little bit of coverage of Copa America, a little bit of more of Copa America with myself. I'm gonna be very, very embedded into that. So, you know, you're probably going to see my voice. Probably going to hear my voice on the podcast feeds a little bit more than you probably want to, but that'll be okay. But check out our social media on Twitter, Bayou City Soccer, Instagram, Bayou City Soccer, the YouTube channel, Bayou City Soccer, and of course the Facebook as well, Bayou City Soccer. So check everything out there, guys. Look, these are our handles right there on your screen. If you're watching, if you're listening, Rudy Segura 3, Chris Putalias for myself. But yeah, BayouCitySoccer.net is the website. And don't forget to check out Ugly Guppy. They're always there giving us a hand. And yeah, go help them out as well.
Making them look a little good, brother. That's for sure. But I guess, you know, again, we're trying to make some time for Joey. I don't know where he's at. I texted him too. But we'll talk a little bit about the Houston Dash, I suppose, before. Actually, you know what? Let's do Houston Dynamo too. Christian, I know there's no Tuesday from you.
Yeah,
no. The team ends up losing 1-0 in what was the last road trip, I guess 3 games on the road for the team. And just your thoughts I mean, obviously they haven't won 4 games. But just your thoughts on what you've seen overall from D2.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a slump right in the beginning of the season. The whole, you know, getting used to the whole new team with the new players, younger guys. But I think obviously as the days have gone by, they have had a lot of new additions. You know, from Brazilians to Ecuadorians to, you know, just many guys kind of coming in and plugging in, and a couple of the academy guys. Letman, for example, a guy that went to college, he's coming back. And just kind of different situations like that kind of made the team a little bit weird in a way. But I think Kenny Bundy and the team as a whole, as an organization, the Houston Dynamo, have a vision of preparing the kids to move up to the first team. and not really trying. I mean, obviously you want to compete, right, in every tournament or everything that you're playing in, but I don't think the primary goal or point is to win every single game or to make it to the playoffs or whatever it may be, but more of let's see how competitive we can make this team to push the guys, up into the first team in a way, right? Perfect example, I guess we could say, is like Exonarsu, Honduran youth national guy that just got injured, unfortunately. But right behind him, you had Maddox,
Mm-hmm.
that is one of those guys that is stepping up to the plate and trying to claim a spot in the first in this in the second team as a starter, and then maybe in the future going on in the first team. But is one of those guys that is fighting it from the bottom, from the academy, and is not a guy that is being brought out as a future potential star that we may see with maybe with Exonarsu, or plays like Josue, or guys that are coming from outside to kind of just take a spot. Like literally, some of these guys came in and just became starters from the get go, and kids like Maddox have to kind of fight from the bottom and build their way up in a way. But it's good competition, a lot of talent for sure. But obviously, it's one of those things. Is like you don't want to lose. Everybody's competitive. At the end of the day, everybody wants to win. So it's a balance of what does Kenny Bundy do in the situations of we're competing to create a great team, but also we don't want to lose. We don't want to give out any points. And it's been complicated, but I think eventually the season is long in a way, and right now they're kind of in the midpoint, bottom midpoint. So hopefully they can bring it back up as the days go by. But obviously you have to win. These ties are not great, but you still kind of are accumulating, 1 point at a time. But at the end of the day, you want to start, counting 3 by 3 instead of 1 by 1. So at least it's not zero, but at the end of the day, you do want to win. So we'll see how that happens.
Yeah, I mean, a third of the season's already gone. The team is sitting in second to last place, and they'll be taking on the last place of their conference in Colorado Rapids too. I put Saturday. I believe it's Sunday. Yep, Sunday. But yeah, so they'll be playing here at home Sunday. At what's it called?
7.
Yeah, it's 7,
Saber
right?
Cats.
Yeah, SaberCat Stadium. So I mean, yeah, no, I agree with you. It's difficult, especially after the first couple of seasons with Kenny Bundy. The guy's doing well on the table, but it seems that in reality, this new, I guess, group of players are actually developing, which is kind of nice to see, and I think the most important. So, but now that you're playing against the last team on the conference, you better beat them because you don't want to go
Exactly.
as the bottom feeder for sure, Ben. So that's a good game to go out, man. I mean, you guys know free tickets. Just make yourself to the stadium, and I think you just download them through the SeatGeek app, and you're in. So definitely be able to go and see the starts of tomorrow, and there's quite a few players playing pretty well. So it's just a
Yeah.
matter of them putting it together and getting those more important wins, man. So um that's Dynamo 2 for you guys. Little, I guess, summary of kind of what's happening. And then the other team being, we'll move into Houston Dash real quick. We're not going to go too far into it just because I was hoping that Joey Armani would jump on. But they are coming from a 0-0 draw from Saturday against Angel City FC. Um, the key component, which seems to always be the same player, is Jane Campbell, just keeping the team afloat. She saved the penalty. The penalty itself was shot. I would say it was a pretty weak shot, but I mean, she still had to be on the right spot, kind of guess correctly. And she waited till the last second to calculate and block the shot, and she did. So I mean, Jane is just on a whole different level for this league. I mean, one of the best goalkeepers. Obviously, we see how she's being getting called up to the U.S. Women's national team and getting some minutes. So that's good for her individually. But then again, as a whole, it's still complicated to know exactly what's happening with with the dash. One day they seem like they got it, another day they seem like completely lost. This one in particular, it was a pretty even matchup to begin with against Angel City, but I really thought that they would have the advantage just because of the weather, and in reality, the Angel City just outplayed them, held more possession. They looked like the ones from Houston, in the sense of like with the heat in their favor. It was just it's just difficult to gauge. And then Quinones is not getting the starts like she tends to. And we keep seeing Michelle Losi getting those starts. It's I don't know why that is. I think Michelle has definitely been struggling, and Ordonez is kind of all over the field, under Fran alone. So I mean, she obviously was the center forward, playing centrally, and now you see her play more of a 10. Hell, even like an box to box 8. She's just everywhere. So I think that you really have to rally around her and build around her. But I mean, there's still about half of the season left, and right now they're in 10th place with 13 points. So it's not completely out of the picture. They can make the playoffs, one of those last plays, but you got to start winning points, especially at home. So they'll be playing at San Diego Wave on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. But again, it's just a part of it. Uh, Rushan says weather is nothing in its tactics. I agree, but again, if you're a high press team and that's what you're doing, you're pushing the opponents. And Chris loves to talk anything more. What's it called? Anti-modern soccer,
Yeah.
Chris. Um, but but I mean, if you're a high press, if you're pushing the lines and that's what you're doing, um, your fitness level should be much higher whenever you're training in a in an atmosphere that your opponent doesn't see every day. So, yes, you're right. It doesn't necessarily do anything to the tactics, but you would think the wear and tear would be more on, be less on the team that trains in it, you know,
Day in and
every
day out.
week.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah. So again, the Dash gonna go against San Diego Wave. You'll see our predictions. I don't think it's gonna be a good prediction from most of our guys. Um, and who knows? Maybe Maria Sanchez finally gets a goal against her former team. That's kind of about
And
it. But
in San Diego, they're only a point above Houston, so it might be, it's a really good matchup when it comes to into breaking apart, from each other in those last playoff spot. Because I mean, from the sixth place is Chicago with 17 points to even the 12th Bay FC is 12 points. So there's a 5 point difference between half of the table that are still competing for a good amount of playoff spots. So like you said, nothing has been said or done, but you really have to win those games at home because going away it gets a little bit more difficult. Like you said, you have those advantages that where you're playing day in and day out. It's your weather and everything like that. So when you play at home, you have to make it a fortress. You see it in the men's game a lot, and it can be very, very vital, especially if you have like bigger crowds and stuff like that. That pushes the players a lot.
mm-hmm.
I know that at NWSL might be a little bit different for some teams more than others. But yeah, I mean, this is a great opportunity for Fran Alonso to kind of put, I was gonna say his balls on the table, but I don't know if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. But
No.
he has
Yeah.
to show out, and the players too.
You have to. And I think some of the players that come in, like Tarsiani, came in the first game, bossed everybody around. Just, I mean, was a beast. She struggled the next game after that. So hopefully, same thing with Paige Nielsen. She looked good in the beginning. Lately, she struggled. So it's just trying to get everybody to be at the same fitness or same form
Yeah.
every game. That's what's difficult. And it kind of segues into talking about the Dynamo, because one thing that Ben Olsen always mentioned was some days, we have a couple guys playing like at their top, and then some guys don't, and that's kind of where it's at now. You see it more naturally when one of the teammates are on the same page and same level. It clicks. It just clicks. But if you have people playing below par, it automatically it's very visible of what's who's missing and who's not linking like they should be. But all right, Chris, man, we're kind of flying by today's episode, which is fine with me, brother.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the Houston Dynamo, man. Hopefully we'll do a little bit more interaction with the fans there. Thanks again, guys. Listening to the show. I know it's the summer. I know you guys are probably doing other things, in the summer. I know I would. But if you're here listening to the show, or you'll catch it on the podcast feed tomorrow morning. Big news for Dynamo is they sign a striker. I know a lot of people have been asking for a striker. He won't be able to play till I think probably July 20th. But it looks he's here. He's I can't say if he's training or not. We'll probably find that out. But officially, he'll be with the team after July 18. Argentinian, man. I mean, there's a lot to like for you, brother.
Yeah.
But Ezequiel Ponce comes in. He looks like the guy that everybody's been asking, a top goal scorer. You look at his stats throughout the years, and he scores goals. He does not assist much. So he's definitely more of a killer on the box, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay because, we have plenty of those. You have I 4 on top of my head I can think of.
Yeah.
5. Basi, Sebastian Kowalczyk, Aliu, Coco, and HH can be perfect candidates. Even Dorsey on the right side can be perfect candidates of putting balls in the box. And now the hope of somebody being in the box, the question has been answered. So, like we said, a question for everybody watching with us, from 1, if you had to rate it from 1 to 10, how excited are you about Ponce? A lot of us in our group chat, to be honest, we're like in the midpoint range, from 5 to 6, 7, I think was the most optimistic one of us that was said it. I didn't say it because honestly, I think I am closer to a 5-6, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, it was kind of put it back into context. I know you said it, but it was about the hype. How hyped are you of him getting signed? That doesn't mean like how good you think he's gonna be, or how many goals he's gonna score. It's just about the hype. And I was telling the guys like how I was comparing it is like if you're telling me like when I found out that Ache was getting signed, then hype level was 11 out of 10. Now, when you told me like Darwin Quintero was getting signed, I was in the 7, 8 range. Like I was excited because obviously the guy and this and that. I mean, Ponce, it's really not a known name, to be honest. Obviously, we've known that he's played in Europe, played in La Liga. He's played currently in Athens, with the same team that Matias Almeida coaches. And there's a couple Mexican
they won
players.
championship, I think, last year.
Yeah, I think they won the league. And you have Rodolfo Pizarro, who's obviously people will recognize him as a failure for Inter Miami. He basically was a number 10 before Messi showed up, guys. So and then you had Orbelin Pineda there too. But Rushan saying that Ponce played with Spartak Moscow. I think he also played. Was it Almeria? He played in La Liga.
Granada? I think it was Granada.
Yeah, I think you may be right. But I mean, you looked at he played with the U20s or U19s with Argentina. That's a big deal, right? To be able to play with any national team in Argentina, it's a big deal. So he's 27 years old. He's in ripe age, which lets you to believe that at this point, with however many games there is, obviously we have the Seattle Sounders tomorrow for the Dynamo. and then you play DC United. Let me see, I have it right here. You play, I was going to try to see how many games. Okay, so you play Seattle, DC, Charlotte, then you play Salt Lake, LAFC, Minnesota, San Jose, and then on the 20th, which could be the first match for Ponce's against Vancouver in Vancouver. So, man, that's 8 matches before he even plays a game. That's crazy, right? Because that's
Yeah, that's a lot.
that's a lot of points, that you have to still
In between.
dispute. Yeah, without this new DP like, and that's another thing we talked about, Chris. And I mean, I want to get you guys to know I think a lot of people talking about how hyped they are. Dago said he's a 9. Agent Winter says he's an 8 of how hype he is. I mean, some people are extremely excited, which is good to see and hear. What I kind of find interesting too is just the fact of when we're talking about this, Christian, is like we knew that the record breaking was Sebastian Ferreira, and he was like about 4 million. And our sources reached out to us before the news broke out that it was official, and they said that it was close to 8 million. And you were like, holy crap, like that just on itself is like mind blowing, dude. I mean, for all this talk about, you got to get it right, you got to spend, and you obviously have a Sebastian Ferreira, which will kind of go more into detail of what it means for him. But you don't, basically you literally double down on another striker worth double this guy. So it's incredible. I mean, just as somebody that's followed the Dynamo for so long, and obviously you, Christian, and all the guys, I don't think a lot of people realize what exactly that means. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, with that money, right? This guy technically, hypothetically, should be going into the the list of the greats of the greats that have worn the Houston Dynamo jersey. I mean, you're talking about the most expensive player in franchise history, right? And you're like, this guy, like his name of like Ponce should be synonym of Houston Dynamo in the future,
right? It should be.
And you. I mean, that's what we're paying for it, right? Or we, as in Ted Siegel, but
it didn't hurt my pocket.
Exactly. But it's one of those things that you're like, dang, like we should be like super hyped. Like this is, I don't know, this is our Messi. This is our this is our Chucky Lozano. Like if you put it in that realm, like he's supposed to be there. Obviously the hype wasn't as big as bringing Achacha. It was more of a low-key transfer, of like, hey, he's coming in. Here's a little preview 10 minutes before, and here's the video of him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty quick. It was, I don't know if they're trying to play it safe, be like, hey, here's a new guy. We're not gonna tell you how much we spend, find out somewhere else. But hopefully, he's very the good thing about him is that even though he was kind of a journeyman in a way, he was a journeyman in the top leagues of Europe, which it's good.
Right.
He wasn't another I don't know, Latif Blessing, with all due respect, or he wasn't another was the other Argentinian that we had with the long hair that he went everywhere. He went all the Urruti, like he, because Urruti was a number 9, right? He was a goal scorer. Yeah. And he was quote unquote proven in this league as one of the guys that could put the ball in the back of the net, and he was just a journeyman. He scored, you can count on 5 goals in a season, 5 to 7, maybe more, but other than that, like that was that. But this guy coming in, I mean, I'm still very like was not emotional, but very attached to the number 10 as a something special to me, right?
Sure.
So like coming in and wearing the number 10 off the bat, like you need to put your pants, like your big boy pants on, and move forward type thing.
And he's probably the very first guy that comes in and like from the get-go earns that or wears that number 10. Yeah. Because You go back and like Gal Barnes, he started thinking with 23, and eventually he was flashy enough. They gave him a 10. I was the Fafa, same thing, right? Fafa came in, had a different number, eventually went number 10.
Yeah, that was weird.
You had Tomas Martinez, came in 25. Not a natural, and I'm not saying all these guys are number 10s by any means. They were just a little bit more of the attacking players that you need, or build up guys. And this guy just legit, it seemed like and the reason is because it seems like everybody tries to not wear that number 10. I mean, that number 10 has been sitting there for
Pressure.
2-3 years, and none of the new guys that came in and grabbed that number 10. And as an Argentinian, he has to know what that number 10 means and what it represents. And when, again, the rumors are out there that it's about an 8-something million that you guys spend on, there's a lot of pressure on him, from the beginning. And I just haven't seen enough of that pressure so far, from obviously maybe even just the Twitter universe or just in general. Yeah, there's people that are going to say, oh, well, I mean, he can do good, he can do bad. Yeah, that's any signing. I mean, if we're being honest, right?
Yeah, literally.
And at the end of the day, I mean, to me, the biggest thing is, for the longest time, it seemed like we were tired of not seeing a player get bought because of maybe like a Coco Carrasquilla not leaving, right? Everybody's like, well, Coco has to leave for them to spend those 3-4 million.
That's true.
And out of nowhere, Ted just goes like, here it is, bro. Like, it that right there again. It just, the more I think we're talking about this, the more I'm like, holy shit. Like, yeah, that takes some guts, because you're trying to be a club like the other ones, and in Philadelphia, Seattle, like those big clubs that have a good academy. They know how to buy and sell players. And so far, I mean, since what is it, SRC, the analytics group that came in with the Dynamo, that also work with teams like Arsenal, they've gotten it right so far.
So far,
I don't think they've really missed since they came in. It wasn't like watching YouTube videos like Pat Onstead, confessed to, and getting a Tiaguinho. I mean, these guys are legit looking at all the data that a lot of us, you and me, Chris, hate, to talk about some stats that for us doesn't make a lot of sense. Give us goals and assists, man. That's kind of what I care about. But there's a lot of things in those numbers that does make sense to people, and so far, it's working, man. It's working.
It's working, and also I want to bring back and kind of accentuate the fact that the whole money situation, right? Because a lot of people were, or even us, we were like, well, there's no way we're gonna, Ted is gonna spend that amount of money to bring somebody in. First, we got to get rid of Coco, get some money in.
Get rid of Mikael.
Yeah, like make money to spend money, right? And just spending money without, gaining any money per se is big props to, what Ted is trying to do, and just kind of trying to change the phase of the Houston Dynamo. I mean, we saw it in the beginning, right? We saw with basically bringing Ache, cleaning out house, with also bringing out, Pat Onstead, Asher, and just like the whole team kind of behind the scenes of everything that they do over there. Like you were mentioning, now watching YouTube videos, but actually watching analytics, being a little bit more nerdy, make sure the numbers fit, what we're trying to, what the team is trying to do. Build a base of like, okay, these are going to be your starting 11. We're going to have who we are as a team is going to be plastered everywhere. Like teams, when they play Houston, they know what they're playing. A team that's going to play possession, that's going to move the ball around. They're going to want to keep the ball and everything like that. Mm-hmm. So you have an identity as a team. You have an identity as a club, as a football team. And now, moving forward, when you have, Ted spending money to bring a DP number 10 goal scorer that played in, Athens, Rome, big clubs, Sparta Moscow is one of the biggest clubs. They play Champions League every year, every other year or every year. It's teams that are competing in the, with the top teams. And you're bringing one of their best players to come at your club, and you're kind of basically making him the face of your franchise. Like that's big balls, to do that. So shout out
Yeah.
to Ted for spending.
And Agent Winters mentions how he scored 14 goals in 29
That's
games with
it's not
Athens,
bad.
which is good. I mean, we saw Ferreira scored 13 at one point too. So,
Yeah,
and we know that they can score. So players like that, they can come in and score. Now, can they be consistent? Can they, come in and fit in with the team? I think that if all our trust is in anybody, it's definitely gonna be on SRC. I mean, they've done such a great job. Like those analytic guys have gotten it right. So, maybe the hype is not fully there on what he's bringing to the team uh, right now, because again, Dago even mentioned, if you're worried about the recognition, it made ECU more to know nobody really knew Chicho Arango was
that's true.
before he
He's
became.
the
Yeah,
man.
of course, and that's our point. It's like the hype, it may not be fully there
Yeah,
on kind of what we're seeing when it comes to the recognition, but at the end of the day, if he comes in and he puts in, he plays for what, maybe 10 more games and he scores 8 goals, 9 goals, I'm okay with that, and drive it into the playoffs. Who cares? Who
yeah.
cares if the guy doesn't assist? Like I mentioned, you look at his stats. There's probably like one assist and like 50 goals. Like if all he does is score goals, that's what
That-
you want. That's
that's
what
what
you
wins you
paid a
games.
mil for
Yeah,
him, right? And so, one thing that Rushan mentions, and definitely we need to talk about, is just offloading Ferreira 3.9 mil. That's the thing. But Ferreira has no value right now. So, one thing that we've been discussing is at this point, yeah, it'd be easy just to say, well, you know, just buy him out, pay his contract. I mean, and you mentioned Ted, Christian. I mean, Ted already's paying 8 million. He's not gonna
yeah,
want to spend more money on that.
for real.
And knowing that you have what we mentioned, like 8 games before Ponce gets to play, I think we're gonna see more minutes of Ferreira. I
Yeah,
don't know if he'll get the starting from the get-go or not, but maybe, because in reality I think Ferreira and Ponce are relatively similar type of players in some aspects when it comes to natural scorers. So he may have to him being Ben Olsen may have to start throwing Ferreira in just to get a glance of what Ponce maybe not his the way that he approaches the game may be similar. So you kind of want to start dealing with that, because you mentioned Sebas, Vasi, Aliu, all these guys have played nothing but false nines. There hasn't really been a true striker,
yeah.
especially this season. So they offload him? I just find it difficult, man. I really think that at this point, you keep him at least for this entire year, because no one's gonna come knocking for him. I mean, it'd be surprised if someone comes knocking and gives you any kind of good faith value for it, because you're not. I mean, you already lost money on him
Yeah.
just because of how bad he's been in the last year and a half. Obviously, he comes back, he looked good, he looked sharp. Injured, and hamstring, like I mentioned from the beginning. As soon as I saw him getting that muscle injury, those linger, man. Those take a while to heal, and it's just unfortunate for him, because it looked like he had the right mentality. He looked like he was finally like kind of getting it, and it just didn't go Ferreira's way. But he still has a chance. I think, like I said, he'll get minutes. Um, but Christian, what are you thinking with Ferreira? What do you think he'll see more minutes? What are you feeling, man? Or do you think that Ted just buys him out? I mean, at this point, I mean, he has a big wallet. It seems like.
I mean, at this point, right? You can expect anything from Ted, right? He uploaded 8 million for this guy. I don't know if it was my money, I probably wouldn't. But his money is he can do whatever he want with it. If you want to get rid of that DP spot, I mean, might as well. But then again, like you're not. I doubt they're gonna go out there and spend money for another DP. If you offload Ferreira, so might as well just keep him. Have him as a backup if anything. Because I mean, if you look at it, you don't really have, you don't have a striker to begin with, just because Ferreira is injured or wherever his situation may be, and then after that, you really don't have a backup striker. If you count Aliu, but Aliu is going to tell you 1,000 million times that he'd rather play on the wing.
Right.
And Kovalchik and Basi are going to tell you that they want to be number 10s. They want to distribute the ball. They want to give out that last pass. They want to be the creators of the game. So there's that. So why not keep them both? It is what it is. If you have to, you're losing 1-0 and is minute 85, throw them both in there. Try to get a miracle goal in there. And then at the end of the year, you kind of assess if you're Ben. What do you want to do? I mean, because he still has another year of contract. So it's like, do we want to get rid of this guy and spend that money and then go and see if you can find another DP for $5 million? I don't know, a midfielder, a winger, or because I hope they don't do the same Kiki Struna stuff where they're gonna go spend for a DP, center back.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think someone else mentions it on here, and like I said, we've talked about it, in our group chat about imagine a world where you have both Ponce and Ferreira netting goals for a Dynamo.
Yeah,
I mean, that'd be ideal, right?
beautiful.
Because you already have the guys here. You don't have to go out and look for another striker or another winger, like you mentioned. And so that's the reason why I think Ferreira is likely going to get more minutes. And hopefully, when he's played, he's looked good. Maybe not as good this last game against Atlanta United, but it's just difficult. Road games are a little difficult. Overall, I think there's a lot of the players didn't play all that well. And it was great to get, a draw over there, a 2-2 draw, get some points. So ideally, I think you start thinking about it and you're like, man, just imagine two strikers netting 10 plus goals, each.
Beautiful.
It'd be really, really nice. But then again, I think I'm really pessimistic of somebody coming and buying Ferreira right now this summer. So I could see him again staying here till December. And then maybe they decide to, buy him out. And then we don't see him anymore the rest of however long. The rest of the rest of the Dynamo's dynasties here, I guess, before they move him to Jacksonville or something crazy like that. But
Carolina core.
Carolina core, man. So yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting, man. I think Ferreira, and again, I think a lot of people see Ferreira and they're like, oh, he's awful. When he played, he wasn't bad, and we have to take that. When in 2022, his first year in the league, he was great in a really bad team. I mean, he showed that he could score with his head, with his left foot, his right foot, from distance. It didn't really matter. The dude could score. And then it just didn't go as planned. His second year, we know all that happened. Obviously, goes scoreless for almost a year plus, and personally, and then comes back in, plays a couple minutes, scores a goal, plays another couple minutes, gets an assist for that game in Colorado when Brad Smith scores at the end. I mean, the guy can play. You can't deny that he can play. Now, put them together. I mean, how often? You're a 4-4-2 guy, man. Imagine that.
I mean, if it's possible, it's possible. I mean, it's there for a reason. But the way that Ben team plays, it just seems highly unlikely. Unless you obviously, like I said, you're looking for a miracle at the end of the game. But I don't know. It's a tough situation, and it's one that we honestly don't have to worry about in a way, because now we do have a number 9 or number 10, I guess.
Well,
there's a striker,
and that's another thing too. It's gonna one thing is to see the guy net goals, but can he play more of a number 10? Because then it's a little bit more doable to be able to play with him and Ferreira or him and another striker. Now if he's just gonna be the striker that is asked to put a lot of work in pressuring and all the good stuff that Seva, Kovalchik, and Basi do, then it's different. How happy is he gonna be to play in 100-degree weather and doing that? That's another thing. It's going to take a couple. I think his contract is all the way to 2027 guaranteed. So we'll have Ponce for a couple years, and hopefully he acclimates quickly. But that's another thing. You take all the personal level into it, and it's difficult for sure to acclimate, and especially when you've been playing in Greece and like cooler weather for a while.
Yeah. Give me your starting 11 with Ponce being in Houston.
With Ponce being in Houston, it's gonna be interesting just because we know I think the defensive scheme we already know, right? You have Clark starting, and then
Let
you
me
have
go bring my charger. Okay, my bad.
all right, go get it.
I'll
Uh,
listen. I'll listen.
no, you got it. Yeah, no, I think personally you would see a Dorsey, Sviatchenko, Mikael, and then Franco as your back, like we've seen often. In the middle, you have Arthur Ache, and then I'll kind of probably Bassi still there. And then apart from the top three, definitely you're gonna have Aliu on the left wing. Then you have Ponce and Carrasquilla, if that's who you have. So not a lot of change other than probably seeing Kovalchik end up going to the bench instead of Ponce, and that's only if we're thinking that Ben Olsen doesn't do any true tactical changes or formation changes when Ponce comes in. Now, the best case scenario would be if Ponce can play a little deeper, then in that case, I may end up taking out Coco Carrasquilla and putting Bassi on in his place, and then playing with Ponce as the 10 and Ferreira on top. I mean, that'd be pretty nice to see, just to see if that's something that they can work out. But yeah, I don't think formation wise you don't change away from that 4-3-3 or 4, what do they call it, 4-2-3-1 or whatever. So
Yeah.
I think you keep it pretty clean. And again, it all depends on how Ponce is. If Ponce is a straight up, I think Rushan said you don't want him to be a tronco, but if he's all he is just a guy that is waiting for the ball, then I don't see the formation changing much or tactically. But now, if Ponce is like it could be a number 10 that is comfortable with the ball at his feet, is able to distribute, is able to have a good vision and passing, then hell yeah, you kind of maybe want to see two, Ferreira and him combo would be great, dude.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, he doesn't look well, like you said, he doesn't look like he have a lot of assists. So he might be more of a 999, like a box 9. But like you said, we just have to see him come. The good thing is that he'll have like a whole month. He's already in Houston right now. I'm pretty sure Athens, the season's already over. European soccer is not there anymore. The MLS kind of keeps on going. So hopefully he's already training, or will be training with the team. So whenever he comes and he starts or he plays with the Dynamo, come July, he would be very acclimated to his teammates. Hopefully, communication there with Coco, with Hector. I mean, that would be awesome because they already speak Spanish, which, believe it or not, I feel like that makes a difference when you can communicate with your players like that.
At least it makes it quicker.
Exactly, because you just kind of how to read your players, how to. But there'll be a whole month of preparation for him to kind of get acclimated to the weather. He's coming in the worst time, so just get him out there in the sun, get him out there, get him running, and a month comes in and he'll have no excuse, in a way. Hopefully he can just start scoring.
Rishan mentions is like, yeah, I mean, if he's a cherry picker, who cares, man? If he's gonna tap in those easy goals that we may see and be frustrated with, maybe like Aliu, 6 inches away from goal and can't put the damn thing into the net. If this guy is the one that cleans it up, finishes, that's fine with me. That's fine with everybody here.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up with Martin Palermo, who is probably the best he's like the Chicharito
worst
of
soccer
the
player.
Early 2000s.
You're like the worst soccer player, the best goal scorer.
This man did not know how to play soccer. Like, you watch videos of him, this man does not know how to stop a ball. This man does not know how to kick a ball. Like, lucky ass goals, but he scored. And he, he beat Real Madrid in an international, game. He scored against Real Madrid in an international game. So it's one of those things that, it doesn't matter at the end of the day how he plays. Well, obviously it does matter, right? But if he can, deliver, I mean, because we were all happy when Ferreira scored 13 goals, right? That's first season. And we were like, bring him back. Shitty team, great player, 13 goals. Bring that boy back. Obviously, the next season, it was completely different. Ben Olsen kind of got a hold of the team, changed tactically. It was changing. The whole team was changing. Everything was changing as a organization and everything. And the guy just couldn't find a place, because he was used to playing a different type of game. But we knew that he could score. It just wasn't, the game wasn't built for him at that point. And he was probably used to playing in a team that was built around him, in the sense of, we're going to deliver balls to you. And then when you have a team that is going to kind of keep the ball a lot more and not just throw it up so you can go and catch it and hold it, or, hold it, turn around, take a shot type thing, then obviously your game is going to have to change. If you're going to have to pressure more, then, if you're not used to running outside of the box and now you have to chase the ball like a crazy dude, that's going to take a toll physically, especially in Houston. We talked about the weather. Maybe it doesn't affect, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's hard playing in 100-degree weather with no air current and all this stuff. It's hard. But the guy's a proven goal scorer. Let's see what Ponce brings to the table, and then we reassess when we have both of them, together in one place.
Yeah, and again, there's a lot of games before we see Ponce wear that number 10, and get some minutes with the Dynamo. So we're all super excited just for the signing, for seeing the club like the Dynamo spend the type of money they're spending. I mean, that it's crazy. Again, it's great to see, and you hope that they do it right. We'll finish off with something Rushan said earlier. He said, "Yes, wonder if Chris is excited that we have another News Boys." So Rushan, I told Chris from the very beginning, Ponce is probably good because he didn't play with Boca. So, yeah. but no, man, yeah, I think we're all gonna be pretty stoked about the fact of seeing him finally get some minutes, man. But we do have a couple games this week, starting with the Seattle Sounders tomorrow, Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. The weather has been kind of weird here in Houston. It seemed like we were gonna get a ton of rain. It looked like there was a tropical depression, hurricane. I mean, who knows what the heck is happening in the Gulf, man? But I think that it did rain a little here in Alvin, so
here too.
We got some rain. Not sure what that means for tomorrow. Hopefully, it means that the game gets played. Now, as far as me making it to the game, rain does make a difference, just because of the way that I have to travel. But Seattle Sounders, man, Seattle Sounders has the number on the Dynamo, which is incredible, bro. I think I looked it up, and there's no draws, at least not in the last 10 games. It's only one team wins, and it's usually Seattle Sounders, winning. I think only the Dynamo have one win since 2019 or 2017 against Seattle. It's pretty incredible. But Wednesday game, I mean, obviously quick turnaround for both teams. Can Seattle not beat the Dynamo? Who knows? But Chris, what are you feeling, man, with the Dynamo taking on Seattle tomorrow?
I'm very optimistic. I know we talked about Seattle. Seattle and Portland are always difficult for the Dynamo for some reason. I mean, for some reason, no, they're good teams usually, right? And tomorrow is not going to be any different. So I feel like Seattle's going to come in here, expecting a draw, at least fight for a draw. If they can get a win, even better. But I think they're going to come in here, with a mentality of okay, let's go 0-0. If they score on us, let's go score one and, just kind of hold them off. If we can get a second, then, good for us, bad for them type thing. But Seattle is always a good team, away or at home. Usually they have those weird slumps when they suck a little, but then they come back up and they're always in the playoffs. They're always somehow make it to a semifinal somewhere, in there. But honestly, I'm very confident about this Dynamo. I mean, going to Atlanta and, fighting over there. I know Atlanta is probably not the same Atlanta that we're used to watching, this year, but it's still Atlanta at home. Atlanta at home usually they're pretty strong. So yeah, I mean, I think a victory for the Dynamo, like a 2-1, something simple. Like it's gonna be a tight game, but a victory at the end.
Yeah, I think this season has been interesting for Seattle. They look similar to what the Dynamo are, doing. They've been finding it difficult to score. We've been used to seeing Seattle just outscore their opponents, every single game, and they've had some injuries. I know Jordan Morris, Raul Ruiz. A lot of these guys, they're just getting older. They're just aging. The squad itself is aging. So maybe a midweek game, it's hard on them, right? I mean, it's a long travel. Yeah, it's like about 4 hour flight, to Houston from Seattle. The weather not being the best if it's raining. I mean, I know they're used to the rain over there in Seattle, but it's different when you have so much humidity. That can play a factor. Again, the players just needing that extra rest as well. So those, at the end of the day, Rusha, I know you mentioned they're not necessarily a part of your tactics. They're not, but it is a factor. Those stuff become factor for those games. So we hope that there's no, I guess anything holding this game back. There's no delays.
Yeah.
Game starts at 7:30. It ends at, however long, 9:30. And the Dynamo get a win. I mean, it is a home game, as much as it is difficult to play against the Sounders. You got to get that win at home. You have to start strong. So I'm with you, Chris. I think a 2-1 sounds relatively right, especially being, again, a midweek game, kind of in a busy schedule when it comes to that. And then the other game that we'll see is the Ben Olsen Derby. The Dynamo going to DC United on Saturday, 6:30 p.m. I know that there's going to be a lot of traveling fans. I know the Search. Shout out to the Search. I know that they have a big group. There's planning to go to this game in DC. There's probably going to be people from El Batallón and Texian Army. So it should be a well-traveled, just because of, where it's at and the connection with Ben Olsen, spending pretty much his entire career playing with DC United and coaching them. So it should be an interesting one. And this one's a little bit difficult. Obviously, yeah, if you play a really tough match against Seattle, those guys, they're professionals. We're not the most seasoned, or like, was it Dustin mentioned about the guys being an older squad? And I think Ben was like, "You calling us old?" No, they're not. They're not older seasoned, but I mean, at the end of the day, especially if you play in the rain on tomorrow, that takes a lot, man. That takes a lot on your body and your fitness. So to turn around against DC United, I mean, the Dynamo have been playing very, very well away. I mean, they have 2 draws and 2 straight road games. I don't see why they can't take, points away in DC United. So I guess it all depends on, what the results are, especially tomorrow. But I'm still positive that the Dynamo can get, a draw over there in DC United, Christian.
I mean, DC United, they haven't won a game since May 11th. Crazy. That was the last game that they won. They beat Atlanta 3-2. After that, it was a loss against New York Red Bulls, a loss against Miami, tie with Chicago, a loss to Montreal, tie with Toronto, and a loss against Charlotte. So, I mean, they play Atlanta United this time around. So who knows? Maybe they'll get a win there and turn things around. But, hopefully the streak continues for them, and, it's going to be good for us. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm very confident of this Houston Dynamo. I think tomorrow's game might tell you something about what we can expect on Saturday. But honestly, I think the most important game is tomorrow, just because it's your own conference. And then, go to DC United, throw in a few guys from the bench and, hope for the best. DC United are not too hot right now. They're in 10th place. But obviously, in this league, you can have a run of 3 games and, be first place type thing. So it's one of those things. But I do expect another victory. Honestly, I'm not too worried.
Yeah, especially like having this such congested schedule, it's kind of annoying, and I can see why it frustrates teams because you play Seattle, you play DC United, then you have a whole week off, and then you're back to playing Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday games. So it's kind of sucky that is the case, but I mean that's the league you're in. So
Yeah.
I think to an extent you start getting used to it, or the players start getting used to it, and you know they just look for the whichever game is next. You can't really look too far ahead. But the team is scoring goals. Adrian Winters mentions that 2 draws, 4 goals. I mean that's a big deal when the team was finding it difficult to score goals. Now you're scoring goals. However, your defense is starting to frustrate you at times, making silly mistakes, trying to be cute in the back. Heel passes from Coco, and I think Dorsey's his last game. It's like, it just puts your
And I
team in a
mean, yeah,
bind.
and the mess up from Miguel. I mean, they're both of their goals came from mistakes from our own players.
Right.
So I think Ben mentioned that like if I mean you can't really win games if you're gonna give up stupid goals in a way. If they come from good run of play and stuff like that, it's completely understandable. That's part of the game. Obviously, the team is better than you at that moment. But when you're literally giving the ball away in your box, to a really good striker, or giving them a chance of a 3v2 or 3v3 inside the box, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get scored on. That's just the probabilities go their way. So how can you fix those mistakes? How can you learn from them? Let's boot the ball out of the freaking back. Sometimes it's okay if you don't play out the back every single time.
Yeah, no
But
kidding.
it's part of the game too, right? But it's like, okay, it's part of the game, but also let's not be stupid and do that every single game type thing. So,
Yeah. So again, Houston Soccer Man is back with obviously all the pro teams getting some playing. We have Copa America starting. There's a game Saturday. There's a game on Monday.
Thursday.
Thursday?
Thursday, Argentina plays, baby. We open up.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah, I meant like in Houston. I was gonna say like
Oh,
the
okay.
because you have Saturday. You have Mexico, Jamaica,
Yeah.
and then Monday I think is a Colombia, Paraguay, and then obviously sometime in July, I think July 4th is
That's
being
wild.
the Argentina likely getting in that match. And yeah, I was gonna finish this great episode by just mentioning um Argentina taking Canada.
Yeah.
All right.
Take it on Canada.
What's the score? Let's see if you hit it. So when we talk back on Tuesday.
3-0 Argentina.
3-0. All right.
And we 3-0. I think they're gonna be on point.
What was the score against Guatemala? Curious.
I think it was like 4-1 or 3-1. I can't remember right now.
All right.
But I think it was around there.
Yeah. Picking on the Central American teams. I don't know.
Hey, they started up top, bro.
I know I saw score early. But yeah, man, obviously a lot of soccer just happening during the summers, I think is the best part. And then being so intertwined with the MLS, it just never stops, man. Every other league, it's in vacation right now during this tournament, but we get MLS games, Copa America games, Euro games, Leagues Cup after those 2 tournaments end. So it just never ends here, especially in Houston.
And let me just plug myself here, shameless plug, but also say what a great job you guys have been doing, kind of covering the Euros and everything like that. You did a great article. For all those people that want to watch those games, the I think it's like the French Coalition. Is that what their name is?
It was the French Alliance. So yeah,
Alliance.
they had So my friend, I know the people that run it, or at least one of the ladies that run it, and she reached out and was like, "Hey man, like, I know you guys love soccer. Can you guys mention us?" And I'm like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
And so Saturday, I know it's a French Alliance, but they actually hosted for Spain against Croatia, just because obviously those are the days that they're free to do it. And so their next one coming up, it's actually on Friday. So, and it's France against Netherlands. So it's a really good
That's a good
game
game.
right there.
Yeah.
So I believe that game's at 2 o'clock. So yeah, check out the French Alliance of Houston. Definitely recommend you guys go hang out, man. I think it's so fun when you go see a game of a different culture too, and just kind of they'll have food, they'll have like drinks and stuff. So they do charge like a $5 entry just so they can cover, and raise some funds for their organization, but it's nothing, for what you're
Yeah, that's
getting.
not bad.
I think you get 2 drinks and then I think the food that they have there. So
That's dope.
so it'd be I'm hoping to try to make it. It is during the day that I work, but being at 2 o'clock, but who knows, man. Fuga el viernes.
I'll try too. I'm off from work. If I don't have anything to do, my wife doesn't have anything for me to do, then I'll see if I can make it out. And
I think
because it's cool to experience.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah. And it's the place. I've been there like 2 times for other stuff. I think I went for like my friend's baby shower and something else, and they hosted it there. And it's a house. It's like a little like mansion, and somewhere like in
fancy
thing like not River Oaks, but somewhere in there, like inside the loop. It's nice. It's a nice little place. So yeah, it's just gonna be basically it's gonna feel like a big house party. So again, if you can make it out there, man, make it out there. I'll let you know, Chris, if I'll be out there, so that way you can, if you're able to, man, make it out there. But yeah, man, I mean, I think those are fantastic. There's a lot of places, all over Houston area, they'll have similar stuff, whether it be maybe restaurants for the specific country, or obviously we know the places like Pitch 25 and places like that. They're great. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're fun to watch those games, but if you want to make right. Brian Ching, if you hear this, reach out to your boys. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's exciting, and that we have plenty of about a month or so of it. So, it should be fun. Should be fun. But Chris, man, tell the people how they can connect with us, brother.
Yes, I'm gonna plug myself too. Tomorrow, I wrote, me and a few friends, 17 of them actually. It took me like almost 2 weeks to do this project thing that I did, that is is gonna be out tomorrow in the website. But literally reached out to 17 different people, 2 from Argentina because we were the champions, and then 1 person from each country that is participating in the Copa America. Literally, I got a Brazilian in there, I got a Panamanian, I got everything that you can think of. I didn't even know I knew these many people, to be honest. But I am so glad that I literally knew 1 person from every country. People that I went to high school with, people that I have coached around the city, people that I have done work through, like internet-wise, content creators from Canada, people that cover all other teams and other national teams. Like there's a guy from Paraguay that he's not even Paraguayan, he's from England, but he lived in Paraguay.
So I remember this guy. I met this guy.
Ralph.
Yeah, I met this guy at the Gold Cup, the Women's Gold Cup. I remember.
Oh yeah, Yep. So I have a Jamaican as well. Yes, I got some Jamaican people. I reached out to some people that cover the Jamaican national team. Literally every team on the sheet, I got somebody from that country to kind of give us an insight of those teams. That sometimes it can be overwhelming when there's so many teams, especially in the Euros. There's so many teams, and you're like, who is that guy?
If it wasn't because Mexico plays Jamaica the first game, I would totally go to like a restaurant that I know they'll have the game called Island Flavors. And bro, they have some good oxtail. I mean, dude, like if people don't get it, man, you go interact with other cultures, man, you'll find some good food you probably never even thought about. And now at 10 p.m., I'm freaking saliva's everywhere, bro.
This guy. No, but yeah, guys, hopefully you guys like it. I mean, it was a pleasure and a joy actually, getting to reconnecting with some people and actually kind of getting to know the way that they see the game and just kind of see their own countries, their own national team. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. And also, since I don't have a lot of work in my life and I don't have 4 kids, I decided to do a daily little podcast, maybe 10, 15 minutes, that we're gonna throw up in the Bayou City Soccer feed. It's only podcast. I'm not gonna do the whole video and stuff like that because I'm gonna be on vacation. But that's gonna give me time to kind of watch a lot of the games and just kind of give you a little breakdown of what's going on in Copa America. So we're gonna try to keep up with them as much as possible, and follow this cup. And God knows, maybe they'll invite us to the final. Who knows? But me and Rudy will be out there in Miami, hopefully in Hard Rock Cafe. But no, yeah, it's been awesome. But check out Bayou City Soccer. Check out the website. That's where you're gonna find everything. BayouCitySoccer.net. Don't forget, check out everything that we have been doing over there. Joey with the ratings. Rudy with the crazy European facts. Dustin knocking out articles almost daily, even though he's over there busy at work. He's working on holidays and everything, so he should be off, right? He works for a school district. You would think these 2 months should be him chilling, off.
Yeah.
But no, he's hard at work. He's hard at work, just coming from trips, chaperoning and blobs jumping into lakes, but he's still doing work.
We stay busy.
And every guy, I mean, hey, shout out to all the photographers that from Billy to Gustavo to Aldo to Matt. That's not his name.
No, his name is Diego. Inside joke.
Inside joke. So shout out to all the guys that have been traveling everywhere. Diego was out there in Atlanta taking pictures. Gustavo made it out to the Mexico game. Billy always with the fire.
There's another guy. Too. Now I want to name him since you're naming all of them. I can't think of his name.
Orlando? No.
Son of a gun. What? Omar. Omar is his name.
Omar, there you go. But yeah, those guys are doing great work for us and for themselves. Honestly, their stuff is speaking very loud. I see a lot of people sharing their stuff, even media and people from the Dynamo organization are liking their stuff. So obviously they're getting good eyes. But yeah, you can find everything at Bayou City Soccer. Check it out, guys. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Peace. Don't forget to hold it down and keep it forever orange, guys.